Janelle and welcome back to my channel all about books that I love to read. So before I go ahead and get into today's book, go ahead and like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and of course feel free to leave me a comment about our discussion today. So today we're going to be talking about what I believe, in my humble personal opinion, is one of the most important children's books to come out ever. It is this beautiful book called Sulwe by Lupita Nyongo. So you guys may know Lupita from tons of movies such as Black Panther and Star Wars and just like all the amazing things, right? Beautiful, beautiful actress, and she created this children's book that I just, again, feel is so important. Oh, here's her beautiful face. Look at this. So pretty. She created this amazing book, which she kind of describes almost like a memoir as well, about this little girl, Sulwe, who is born with very dark skin, and basically this book takes us through her journey of self-acceptance. So know that it's very important to me as a mom that I always make sure that my kids know that they are beautiful no matter what shade they are, and to, you know, treat everyone with respect no matter what their complexion is and all. I thought this was a great book to get for my kids, and we got it yesterday and I read it at bedtime and we had such a good time reading it, and we had a good discussion about it afterwards. I think these are very important conversations to have with our kids, because even though they are young and so innocent, they are very much aware of different complexions and skin tones and things like that, and you know, they have questions. So funny enough, when my oldest son was about 3 years old, we were watching TV one night, basically like caught him staring at me, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, you know, what's going on? And he goes, "Mommy, are you white?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "Well, I'm brown and Daddy's black, but you're lighter than us. Are you white?" And I was like, am I about to have this conversation with a 3-year-old? But he was dead serious. Like, he really wanted to know. So in my household, we basically run the full spectrum of brown. So I am the lightest person in my house, and my husband is the darkest, and then our kids fall in the middle somewhere. They are, you know, the perfect blend of us both in many different ways. I don't know, can you see? It's my family. I explained to him as best as I could, for him being 3 at the time. He didn't have a little brother yet, so it was just him. And again, it's like me on one side, Dad on one side, and you know, he's in the middle. But I explained to him that you can be brown, but you can be that we come in many different shades and many different complexions, but no matter what, that, you know, we are all beautiful. So, you know, I made sure to emphasize to him that he is beautiful, and Daddy's beautiful, and Mommy's beautiful. Like, we are all, you know, perfectly made, and the complexions that we are, it's just, you know, it's just part of our outer shell. But what really matters is how you treat people and who you are on the inside. So that was like the best I could do at the time, because I was so caught off guard. And again, he was 3. I'm like, how deep do I go with this? But again, at 3 years old, he was asking me about complexion. You know what I mean? So I feel like this book is just so important, and is just a great way for us to actually have these conversations. I wish I had this book when I was having that conversation, because I feel like it would have, I would have been able to make the conversation more digestible for a 3-year-old. I feel like it did get like a little bit deep, and he was just like, okay. But for the most part, I think that he got it. Again, I feel like this is a great book that can help to, you know, facilitate that conversation in your home, help you to be more comfortable having the conversation if you choose to have that conversation, or if your kids bring it up like mine does, because they always have a lot of questions. But anyway, first things first, can we just get into how beautiful this book is? First of all, Sulwe is cute as a button, my goodness. And she is just this like beautiful shade of brown, and she's surrounded by all of these stars, and her eyes are just so big and beautiful. Like, it's so shiny. I love the gold here that Lupita and Vashti's names are in. So Vashti Harrison is the illustrator of this book, who did an amazing job, by the way. My goodness. But even when you take the cover off, you know, it's still all glittery and stars. Because as my kids and I learned last night when we read this at bedtime, Sulwe means star. Which is just absolutely perfect. But yeah, so as it explains here, Sulwe has skin the color of midnight. She's darker than everyone in her family. She's darker than anyone in her school. Sulwe just wants to be beautiful and bright like her mom and sister. Then a magical journey in the night sky opens her eyes and changes everything. In this stunning debut picture book, Academy Award-winning actress Lupita Nyongo creates a whimsical and heartwarming story that will inspire children to see their own unique beauty. So here's Sulwe, and she doesn't look too happy in the beginning of the book, right? Because she's struggling with her skin tone. And here's her family. So she looked nothing like her family, not even a little, not even at all. Mama was the color of dawn, Baba the color of dusk, and Mish, her sister, was the color of high noon. As I mentioned, this just basically takes us through Sulwe's journey of learning to love herself. This book is so important, you all. I feel like this book is going to help a lot of kids to articulate what they're feeling, but then also help them to begin their own journeys of self-acceptance about, you know, whether about their, you know, the way that they look and understanding their beauty. And there's a great, oh my god, the journey that Sulwe goes through and the people she meets along the way. Just very beautiful. And I love how they break down, you know, just for most people, how, like, you know, when you see, you know, bright, whether it's like literally like the color white, right? Like when we think of the color white, like we think of like pure and angelic and, you know, light. But then when we think of the color black, it's like, it's bad, it's scary, it's, you know what I mean? Like there's not always a lot of good connotation, even around the word black itself or around darkness itself, right? So she goes through this journey where she is learning about day and night, light and dark, and understanding why both are very necessary. And ultimately, it helps her to come to a place where she understands that brightness is within her. And I love this. It says, "See," the star explained, "we need them both on their sunniest day and their darkest night and every shade in between. Together they make the world we know, light and dark, strong and beautiful." I love it. And I love the way how they talk about night and day being sisters. And honestly, like, this is a phenomenal book. Again, with such an important message and a conversation that, especially if you are a mother of a child of color, there is likely at some point where you're going to have this conversation about complexion. Whether your child is lighter or whether they're darker, it's going to come up at some point. So if you need some help with that, this book is great for that. But thank you, Lupita, for creating this. I am sure it was, you know, therapeutic for her, but just for, you know, us moms of brown children, I just think that this is just so important. I don't have another word for it. Author's note. Much like Sulwe, I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin. I prayed to God I would wake up with paler skin. I tried all sorts of things to lighten my complexion. My mother told me often that I was beautiful, but she's my mother. Of course she's supposed to think that. It wasn't until I was much older that my feelings about my skin changed. It helped to see darker skinned women being celebrated for their beauty. If they were beautiful, I could be too. I began to see myself differently. While both Sulwe and I learned to see our beauty, I hope that more and more children begin their lives knowing that they are beautiful, that they can look to the beauty in the world and know they are part of it. And yet, what is on the outside is only part of being beautiful. Yes, it's important to feel good about yourself when you look in the mirror, but even more important is working on being beautiful inside. That means being kind to yourself and to others. That is the beauty that truly shines through. The journey I went on was very different from Sulwe's nighttime adventure, but the lesson was the same. There is so much beauty in this world and inside of you that others are not awake to. Don't wait for anyone to tell you what is beautiful. Know that you are beautiful because you choose to be. Know that you always were and always can be. Treasure it and let it light the way in everything you do. Perfect. My oldest and I, we talked about the book after we read it. And I think for him, based on what he told me he learned from this, it just reaffirmed what I have already taught him, which is that being beautiful starts on the inside. And part of that, like Lupita says, is treating everyone fairly and being able to not only see the beauty in yourself, but in others, no matter what they look like. So thank you, Lupita, for creating this book. This is something that we are going to treasure forever, and I'm just so excited about it. I think like my kids didn't know this book was coming out, but I've known for a few months. Like when it got delivered, I was like, oh my God, my book is here. And I'm like, oh wait, it's not your book, it's for your kids. But, you know, some adults need to read this too, to be honest. Beautiful work, beautiful words, beautiful story. Of course, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Sulwe's journey from trying to lighten herself from the inside out to just accepting who she is beautiful. So thank you, Lupita, again for writing this story. Thank you for putting this book together. Thank you, Vashti Harrison, for these bomb illustrations, because they definitely keep kids engaged because the pictures are so pretty. Go on and get this book, you all. Again, super important. Definitely a must if you have a child of color in your life in any kind of way, whether it's a son, a daughter, a grandchild, a niece, a nephew, cousins, niece, whoever, a friend, your friend's kid, get them this book, okay? Thank you for watching today's video. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know if you've read this with your kids. Let me know if you plan on reading it. Let me know if you learned anything from this book, or what your kids' biggest takeaway from this was. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!